Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
All right, welcome back, Outlaws Gunslingers. Another episode, end of the month time. It's about to ring in the year of 2025, and we're doing it with some serial killing.
the year of the drones.
Right, doing it with some serial killing. Also, last week's episode, we told you it was the 200th episode. This week's episode, we're officially over 1,000 on YouTube. So if you're subscribed on YouTube, thanks. If not, go over to YouTube and give us a subscription, or just keep listening here on Spotify. Either or, you're helping us out. Listen to ads. And yeah, year 2025. Told you guys, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Maybe some videos coming your way. If you subscribe to the second tier on, you got to join our channel. Right. But yeah, we're doing some serial killing today.
Let's do some serious killing.
We're doing some serious brand killing here today.
Right.
We're looking at Robert Hansen. They call him the Butcher Baker. He active between 72 and 83 in Anchorage, Alaska. He abducted, raped, and murdered at least 17 women, many of whom were released by him into the wilderness, and then he hunted them down with a Ruger Mini 14 and hunting knives.
Wow.
Yeah, so this guy was, he was a crazy guy. This guy was your typical serial killer guy, man. He had a pretty messed up life. He grew up and...
what you would expect in Anchorage.
He was, he wasn't born in Anchorage. Yeah, the outcast killer. Now he's getting his revenge, so...
What, did he, listen to Outcast when he was killing people or something?
Yeah, outcast that he probably wasn't even aware of in 83, but, he was born in Esterville, Iowa, February 15th.
That makes sense.
1939. He was the eldest of two children to an American mother, Edna Margaret Hansen. She lived from October 27, 1916 to April 24, 2005.
Damn.
And his Danish father, who was a local baker, Christian Hansen, they call him Chris, September 16th, 1907 to August 12th, 1983.
Damn, he killed his dad, basically. Heartbroken.
Robert, growing up, was employed at his father's bakery. They then moved to Richmond, California in 1942, but returned to Iowa in 1949 and settled in Pocahontas.
Oh.
In his youth, Hansen was painfully shy. He had a stutter and suffered severe acne that left him permanently scarred. So he was getting made fun of.
Inside and out.
Right.
Poor guy. Acne will fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
Throughout childhood and adolescence, old Robert, he was described as a quiet loner who had a difficult relationship with his domineering father.
Oh.
Well, his father was,
My daddy tells me what to do.
what was his dad?
He was a baker.
I don't know, from where? Romania or something?
Danish. He was Danish.
Oh, yeah. Hansen, he started to practice both hunting and archery, often finding refuge in those pastimes. 1957, he enlisted in the United States Army Reserve. Served for 1 year before being discharged, honorably or dishonorably. He later worked as an assistant drill instructor at a police academy in Pocahontas.
Good for him.
There, he began a relationship with a younger woman, whom he married in the middle of 1960.
In December 1960, he was arrested for burning down a Pocahontas County, Iowa school bus garage as revenge for his unpopularity in high school. Get over it, guy. You're like 20-something right now.
Right.
He served 20 months of a 3-year prison sentence in Anamosa State Penitentiary. Well, during his incarceration, he was diagnosed with manic depression and with periodic schizophrenic episodes.
Man, get out of here.
The psychiatrist who made the diagnosis stated that Hansen had a quote-unquote infantile personality, and he was obsessed with getting back at people who he felt wronged him.
Yeah.
Hansen's wife then filed for divorce while he was incarcerated.
I bet.
I'm getting the hell away from this guy.
I would too, shit. Over the next few years, Hansen jailed several more times for petty theft. 1963, got married again, and the couple had 2 children. Wow, bringing children into this world, huh? By the year of 1967, him and his family, they moved to Anchorage, Alaska, where he opened his own bakery, just like his daddy, and he prospered in a new land, safely removed from the painful memories of childhood and adolescence. I mean, you can pretty much be whoever you want now. You can make up your own story of life. This is back in 1967. Ain't nobody gonna know shit.
Especially in Alaska.
Right. Hansen, he took flying lessons, and he purchased his own private plane. He's making some money, huh? He earned a reputation as an outdoorsman and a hunter who stalked Dall sheep, wolves, and bear. He did that with a rifle or a bow. Wow. Shooting bear with a bow, huh?
Well, I would assume the bear would be the rifle.
I hope so. 1969, 1970, and 1971, he had 4 animals entered into the Pope and Young record book. No shit. Look at this guy. Fucking regular Grizzly Adams.
Right, he did have a beard. December 1971, Hansen was arrested twice. First for abducting and attempting to rape an unidentified housewife.
What?
Then for raping an unidentified sex worker.
Oh, my.
He pleaded no contest to assault with a deadly weapon in the former offense. The rape charge involving the prostitute was dropped as part of a plea bargain. Hansen was then sentenced to 5 years in prison. After serving only 6 months of that sentence, he was placed on a work release program and released to a halfway house.
So they rather get him on a deadly weapon charge than a rape.
No.
Makes sense.
The deadly weapon was no contest.
Yeah, and they dropped the rape charge.
Probably because it would have been easier to prove the deadly weapon. Plus, he took the plea, obviously.
Right. 1976, Hansen pled guilty to larceny after he was caught stealing a chainsaw from an Anchorage Fred Meyer store. Fred Meyer's pissed. He was sentenced to 5 years and damn, that's like horse.
Yeah,
that's like horse thief.
And Anchorage, dude, chainsaws are a valuable commodity.
You ain't kidding. That's like a snowmobile.
Right.
He was sentenced to 5 years in prison and required to receive psychiatric treatment for his bipolar disorder. Alaska Supreme Court reduced the sentence, and he was released with time served.
They felt it was too harsh of a punishment.
Yeah, for a chainsaw.
Well, unfortunately for Alaska, in Anchorage, he is believed to have begun killing around 1972.
Oh.
His modus operandi is believed to have been to stalk a woman, learn her habits, eventually pick her up in his car, force her at gunpoint to his home, where he would rape her. And then he may have then taken the woman to a secluded area and hunted her as if she were wild game before shooting or stabbing her.
Oh, shit.
It's only officially been confirmed once, but you know how they sensationalize.
Right.
Some of the women Hansen murdered were sex workers. Many were teenagers. He's known to have raped and assaulted over 30 Alaskan women and to have murdered at least 17, ranging in age from 16 to 41. Although, based on evidence, law enforcement suspect Hansen killed at least 21 female victims.
All right. So they found all this out afterwards, or did they know this and he's just running around?
Well, clearly afterwards.
I was going to say, because that's pretty, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me any that the dude's running around after multiple freaking, it is believed by authorities that Hansen's first murder was 18-year-old Celia Van Zetten. Her full name is Celia Beth Van Zetten, then 18 years old, was at home with 2 of her 3 older brothers. Wow. Her old brothers couldn't even do anything, huh? This was on December 22nd, 1971. 3 of them shared a house on Nick Avenue in South Anchorage, close to Northern Lights Boulevard, if you guys know where that's at.
Yep, sure.
Any Alaskans?
You know, they all do.
The 3 of them shared a house on Nick Avenue in South Anchorage, close to the Northern Lights Boulevard, with their older brother and cousin. Her parents resided in a different home in Anchorage. In the late evening, Beth left her house, walked a few blocks to nearby Bilo supermarket. Oh, she's going to get some smokes.
Well, the Bilo closed at 9 p.m. She left home at 8:30.
Oh, she had plenty of time.
Between 8:45 and 9 p.m., a witness spotted Beth go to the Bilo. At around 9 p.m., a neighbor claimed to have spotted her on Northern Lights Boulevard. She never even made it to the Bilo.
Oh.
Her disappearance was reported 2 days later. You know, just 2 days gone. Anchorage. She just went right down the street, but whatever. Well, Christmas Day, 1971, her body was discovered at Cougach Park. It was a state park close to Anchorage. Her chest had been sliced with a knife, and she had been bound and subjected to a sexual assault.
Oh, my God. Christmas morning.
Well, that's the day she was recovered.
Right.
She disappeared 22nd.
Right. Wow. She had been dumped, still alive, into a deep ravine before dying from exposure. According to forensic evidence, she attempted to climb back up the slope, but was unable to, due to her bindings. Of course, right? Hansen had been accused of killing her because of an X on his aircraft map.
We'll get to that later.
But he denied responsibility for both her death and other women's homicides who were involved in sex work.
Not involved.
Right, not involved in sex work.
All right. Fast forward to July 7th, 1973. Megan Emmerich, who was then 17, disappeared in Seward, Alaska. She was last spotted leaving a dorm laundry room while attending the boarding school Seward Skill Center. She has not been seen or heard from since.
Oh, wow.
She left behind all of her personal items, including her identification. Before contacting the police, her roommate conducted a 3-day search for her. Hansen denied killing her to authorities, but he did admit he was in Seward on the day Megan vanished.
What a quinky-dink.
Well, again, due to an X on his aircraft map in the Seward region, he is thought to be responsible.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, Hansen admitted to a former inmate that he did indeed transport Megan to a cabin in the Seward region that was only reachable by boat, where he killed and buried her.
Wow. Yeah, man, Alaska, there's so much space.
And you can't do nothing. If it's frozen, what are you going to do?
Right. Holy shit. 5th of July, everybody's hungover from firework festival the night before, 1975. Mary Kathleen Thill, age 22, disappeared from Seward, Alaska. Her husband was away working on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. She lived on the Lower Point Road. She was driven into town by a friend, who then dropped her off at a local bakery. Between 1:30 and 2 p.m., a different acquaintance saw her by a waterfall on Low Point Road.
Oh.
She has not been seen or heard from since that very day. Hansen, he acknowledged being in Seward on the day. Thill vanished again. Holy shit.
It was July 7th, 73, and then 2 years later, July 5th. Jeez.
Maybe he likes to go there for 4th of July.
For the waterfall.
Right. Hansen acknowledged, like we said, that he was in Seward that day. But he did not kill her, he says. No. But guess what? There was another X on this location on his aviation chart in the vicinity of the Resurrection Bay. This also increased suspicions about him from the Popo. They're like, well, I think we got a little pattern going here. Hansen admitted to killing her and discarding her body in Resurrection Bay, according to a former prisoner as well.
According to. Local topless dancer, 24-year-old Joanne Messina, went out to dinner with Hansen May 19th, 1980, while she was working in Seward, Alaska.
Oh, wait, so what happened to his second wife?
She's still here. She's doing this all on the side.
Oh, well.
According to Hansen, before Messina offered him sex in exchange for cash, everything was going smoothly. Hansen refused to pay and refused to release her, so he drove her and her dog to a distant place by the Snow River. He hit her with a .22 caliber revolver before shooting her twice and the dog once.
Damn.
He brought Messina's body to a gravel pit nearby and dumped gravel over her body. The dog and Messina's belongings were thrown into the woods, and the gun was thrown into the Snow River.
Oh, wow.
July 8th, 1980, her severely decomposed body was found after it had been eviscerated by wildlife.
Wow.
Wow. Couldn't even decency to bury the dog?
This guy's like a maniac. Holy shit. 28th of June, 1980. Roxanne Easlin, 24 years old, vanished. She had been residing at the Budget Motel on Spenard Road in Anchorage, Alaska. She was living there with her boyfriend for the previous 2 weeks. On the very day she disappeared, she was scheduled to meet an unnamed man downtown on 4th Avenue. She has not been seen or heard from since, like we said.
Trying to get some money.
Right. Although Hansen admitted to killing her, her body was never discovered. So that's what I don't understand. They keep on trying to give him these bodies that he's denying, but why would you admit to some and deny it? Might as well admit to them all, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe he wanted to, you know how serial killers are. They like, keep control and play with fucking emotions and shit. So.
Right.
The remains of a.k.a. Annie, that's what they called her because they still don't know who she is, were discovered buried next to a power line in a wooded area 1 mile south of South a.k.a. Lake Road in a.k.a. Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh.
That happened July 21st, 1980. Hansen admitted to stabbing her in the back after she made an effort to flee from his car.
Son of a bitch.
She was either a topless dancer or a prostitute, according to Hansen.
What's the difference?
He also claimed that she was his first murder victim. Despite his claim that Annie might have come from Kodiak, Alaska, troopers think she might have arrived in Alaska via California. Her body had already been largely consumed by wildlife when it was found in a shallow grave near a.k.a. Lake Road.
Oh, wow.
And that's the one that, like, basically set off alarms. Like, we have a pattern here going on, guys.
You'd think. Holy shit. At the nightclub where she worked in Anchorage, Lisa Futrell met and was subsequently kidnapped by Hansen on September 6, 1980. The 41-year-old failed to return home following her September 7th shift at the club. Her 2 younger housemates reported her missing. Her body discovered 9th of May, 1984. Damn. Buried next to a gravel pit south of the former Nick Arm Bridge.
Jeez, dude.
Wow. 4 years later, that sucks.
Yeah, 1981, January, he opened a bakery at 9th and Ingra. He used $13,000 from the insurance settlement of a faked burglary of his home. When the fraud was discovered, he claimed that all stolen wildlife trophies that he claimed were stolen were later mysteriously found in his backyard, and he just forgot to tell his insurance company about it.
Oh, my.
In January 1982, he bought Piper's Super Cub N3089Z, which is a private plane, although he never even had a pilot's license.
Oh, he never finished?
It became one of the main tools in his killing spree.
Oh.
On his aviation chart, he marked many of the locations where he buried his victims. The Nick River was a favorite location, yes. Close to town, yet remote, with hundreds of sandbars to land his plane on.
Oh.
Jeez, must be a light plane.
How the hell is he just going to a airport and they don't check to see if you have a pilot's license?
You know how many private airports are in Alaska?
A lot.
It's literally the only way to travel.
It's true. July 10th, 1981. Dancer Malay Larson, age 28, reported missing from Anchorage. 24th of April, 1984, 3 years later, her body discovered in a parking lot close to the Nick Arm Bridge. And she's been in the parking lot this whole damn time?
Yeah, right. Like, what the hell?
Sherry Morrow, 23-year-old topless dancer, told friends that she was meeting a photographer who had promised her $300 for nude images. She was going to do that on 17th November 1981. Never seen again. Shallow grave discovered by hunters on the banks of the Nick River, which borders Anchorage. That happened on 12th of September 1982 when they found her body.
Jeez. Oh, Morrow, who was reported missing a year earlier, was identified from the remains. She had received 3 gunshot wounds to the back and cartridges discovered close to the body. Dude, it's been a year and they're still just chilling her. It revealed that a .223 Ruger Mini 14 hunting rifle had been used to deliver the shots.
Damn.
An odd feature was that although the body was found fully clothed, there were no bullet holes in the clothing, suggesting that Sherry had been naked when shot and had been redressed after death before being buried. That's crazy.
Wow. At about 11 p.m., 2nd of December, 1981, Andrea Mona Altieri, they call her Fish, 24 years old, last seen boarding a taxi to go to the Boniface Mall in Anchorage. She intended to meet an unnamed male for a photo shoot and to perform exotic dances. She has not been seen or heard from since. Authorities searched Hansen's house. Several of Altieri's possessions, including her fish necklace, were discovered. That's enough right there.
Well, they don't visit his house until he's...
Oh, afterwards.
Right.
Hansen claimed that after he met her, he threatened her with a gun and abducted her, blindfolded and handcuffing her. Wow.
Well, near the Nick Arm Bridge, they took a car to a service road off Palmer Highway. He then unbound her there and abused her sexually. Then killed her with a .22 Browning automatic pistol after she retaliated. He then stole the necklace, weighted a duffel bag with gravel, tied it to the dead woman, and threw her off the bridge and into the river. Her body never been found.
Oh, shit. Damn. Sue Luna, 23-year-old exotic dancer, voluntarily agreed to a $300 photo shoot with a nightclub patron. 26th of May, 1982, she met Hansen in a diner parking lot in Anchorage. That very next day, Luna was reported missing. Hansen, he abducted and killed her, buried her in Nick River. She was discovered on 24th of April, 1984, merely 2 years later. According to Hansen, he had her flee into the forest while hunting her like an animal, while she was stripped naked. Luna had been shot dead.
20-year-old Tamara Peterson, they call her Tammy. She was a dancer at the nightclub in Anchorage. The last time her family heard from her was during a phone call on August 7th, 1982, when she claimed to have been offered money to pose for photographs.
Wow.
She was then kidnapped and murdered by Hansen. Her body was not found until Hansen confessed and pointed out its location on a map, which was a lot of these bodies. April 29, 1984, the body was recovered 1.5 miles from the Old Nick Bridge.
Damn, there's got to be a lot of bodies in that area. Son of a bitch. This guy. 24-year-old Angela Lynn Federn, last seen on 4th Avenue in Anchorage sometime in February of 1983. She was not reported missing until May, though.
Jeez.
The owner of a nightclub reported that Federn, one of his dancers, had gone missing. Hansen had kidnapped and murdered her. Federn's body found 26th April 1984 on a small lake near the larger Figure 8 lake.
Dancer Teresa Watson, 22, was last seen in Anchorage, March 25th, 1983. She informed her roommates that, guess what? She was meeting a man who would give her $300 in exchange for an hour or two of company. At Scenic Lake, Hansen abducted and killed her.
Wow.
He was unable to bury her since the earth in the region was still frozen.
Yeah.
Instead, he abandoned her where she died.
Jeez.
She, too, was discovered April 26, 1984.
Damn. Son of a bitch. Gruesome. Delynn Renee Frey, they call her Sugar.
Sugar Frey.
Right. 22-year-old former resident of Anchorage, last seen sometime in March 1983, but was not immediately reported missing. She was abducted and killed by Hansen.
Yeah.
Buried as a Jane Doe in an Anchorage cemetery after her body was discovered on a Nick River sandbar. Her body was discovered by a pilot trying out new tires on the 20th of August.
Just happened to land there.
It was not until 1989 that she was identified when an Alaska State Trooper recognized her jewelry in a case file photo.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Well, Paula Golding, age 30, she was a dancer in Anchorage when, April 25th, 1983, Hansen offered her money before kidnapping her.
Oh, jeez.
He drove her to his aircraft, and once they reached a remote spot, she fought with him and attempted to get away. That's just according to Hansen. She fled, and he fired a .22-23 rifle at her, killing her. September 2nd, 1983, she was discovered on the Nick River, buried in a shallow grave. She had been shot in the back, but because her clothing was undamaged, it is possible she was shot naked and then clothed before being buried.
Wow.
This dude's making him run away, basically.
Right.
And just shooting him.
Damn. Then you had Robin Pelkey. Her partial skeleton remains. She was 19 years old. They were found on the 25th of April, 1984, in Palmer, Alaska, close to Horseshoe Lake. Determined that she had been stabbed and shot. It's unknown if this victim was involved in sex work or not. October 2021, forensic genealogy was used to determine her identity, having been known by the moniker Horseshoe Harriet before she was identified. Early in the 80s, Pelkey resided in Anchorage, and she vanished on the 19th of July in 1983. And it's just
Crazy.
insane.
Well, unfortunately for Hansen, this is where it all fall apart for the little guy. June 13th, 1983, Hansen offered 17-year-old Cindy Paulson $200 to perform oral sex. When she got into the car, he pulled out a gun and drove her to his home in Muldoon. There, he held her captive and proceeded to rape and torture her. She later told police that after Hansen chained her by the neck to a post in his basement, he took a nap on a nearby couch.
Wow.
When he awoke, he put her in his car and took her to the Merrifield Airport, where he told her that he intended to take her out to his cabin, which was actually a shack in the Nick River area of the Matanuska-Susitna Valley, accessible only by boat or bush plane.
Paulson then crouched in the back seat of the car with her wrists cuffed in front of her body. She saw a chance to escape when Hansen was busy loading the cockpit of his airplane, which was a Piper PA-18 Super Cub. While Hansen's back was turned, Paulson crawled out of the back seat of the car, opened the driver's side door, ran toward nearby 6th Avenue. Paulson later told the Popo that she had left her blue sneakers on the passenger side floor of the sedan's back seat as evidence that she had been in Hansen's car.
Well, Hansen panicked and chased her, but Paulson reached 6th Avenue and managed to flag down a passing truck.
Wow.
The driver, Robert Yount, he was alarmed by Paulson's disheveled appearance, stopped and picked her up. He drove her to the Mush
What
Inn.
if he was another serial killer?
Right, that should have fucked.
Damn.
He then drove her to the nearby Mush Inn, where she jumped out of the truck and ran inside. While she pleaded with the clerk to phone her boyfriend at the Big Timber Motel, Yount continued to go to work. He was like, oh, okay, I'll call the cops for you, though,
Right.
which he did to report it.
Look at that. Good for him, Robert Yount. When Anchorage Police Department officers arrived at the Mush Inn, they were told that Paulson had taken a cab to the Big Timber Motel. APD officers arrived there and found Paulson in room 110, still handcuffed and alone. She was taken to APD headquarters, where she described the perpetrator. Hansen, when questioned by the police, denied Paulson's accusations. He's like, what? Stating that she was trying to cause trouble for him because he would not pay her extortion demands.
Well, this excuse became one Hansen used on other occasions, but although he had several prior run-ins with the law, Hansen's meek demeanor and humble occupation as a baker, along with an alibi for some reason from his friend John Henning, persuaded police not to consider him a serious suspect.
Oh.
Detective Glenn Floth of the Alaska State Troopers, he had been a part of the team investigating the discovery of the several bodies already around Anchorage, Seward, and Matanuska-Susitna Valley area.
Look at that. The first of the bodies was found by construction workers near Eklutna Road. The body, dubbed Eklutna Annie, as we said earlier, has never been identified. Later that year, the body of Joanna Messina was discovered in a gravel pit near Seward. And in 1982, the remains of 23-year-old Sherry Morrow was discovered in a shallow grave near Nick River. Floth, he believed that all three women had been murdered by the same person.
Well, he then contacted the FBI Special Agent John Douglas and requested help with an offender profile based on the three recovered bodies. Douglas thought the killer would be an experienced hunter with low self-esteem, have a history of being rejected by women, and would feel compelled to keep souvenirs of his murders, such as the victim's jewelry.
Okay.
Look at that guy. Fucking hit it right on the head, didn't he?
All right.
He also suggested that the assailant might stutter. What? How would he do that?
No way.
What? This is a damn good profiler,
You
guy.
ain't kidding.
Well, using this profile, Flo investigated possible suspects until he reached Hansen, who fit the profile and owned a plane as well.
Oh, that's it, man. Wow. Supported by Paulson's testimony and Douglas's profile, Floth and APD secured a warrant to search Hansen's plane, vehicles, and home. 27th October 1983, investigators uncovered jewelry belonging to some of the missing women, as well as an array of firearms in a corner hideaway of Hansen's attic, which included a .223 caliber Ruger Mini 14 semi-automatic rifle. Also found was an aeronautical chart with 37 little X marks on it, hidden behind Hansen's headboard.
Jeez.
Many of these marks matched sites where bodies had been found. Others were discovered later at the locations marked on Hansen's murder map.
His murder map.
Son of a bitch.
Well, when confronted with the evidence found in his home, Hansen denied it as long as he could, but he eventually began to blame the women and tried to justify his actions. He eventually did confess to each item of evidence as it was presented to him. He admitted to a spree of attacks against Alaskan women starting in 1971. Hansen's earliest victims were girls or young women, yes, usually between 16 and 19 years old, and not sex workers, unlike most of the victims who led to his discovery.
Oh.
So but he was just getting a taste of it. Like,
Right.
Can I do this? And he's like, all right, let's go get some real revenge.
Once he was arrested, he was charged with assault, kidnapping, multiple weapons offenses, theft, and insurance fraud.
No murder, huh?
The last charge was related to a claim filed with the insurance company over the alleged theft of some trophies, right? And that's how he got his plane. At trial, he claimed that he later recovered the trophies in his backyard. Like we said, he forgot to tell the insurance company. He entered a plea bargain after ballistics tests returned a match between bullets found at the crime scenes and Hansen's rifle.
Yeah, I bet he did. Well, he pleaded guilty to the 4 homicides the police had evidence for, which were Morrow, Messina, Golding, and the Eklutna Annie. And he provided details about his other victims in return for serving his sentence in a federal prison, along with no publicity in the press.
Oh, wow.
Another condition of the plea bargain was his participation in deciphering the markings on his aviation map and locating his victims' bodies. Hansen confirmed the police theory of how the women were abducted, adding that he sometimes would let a potential victim go if she convinced him that she would not report him to the police. I doubt it.
Wow.
He indicated he began killing in the early 70s.
Damn.
Obviously, right.
Hansen showed investigators 17 grave sites in and around south central Alaska, 12 of which were unknown to investigators.
Oh.
There remained marks on his map that he refused to give up. And he's like, no, including 3 in Resurrection Bay near Seaward.
Well, if they're marked, go search.
Right. Authorities suspected 2 of these marks are the graves of Mary Thill and Megan Emmerich, whom Hansen has denied killing. The remains of 12 of a probable 21 to 37 victims were exhumed by the Popo and returned to their families. Damn.
Well, he was sentenced to 461 years in prison
Son of a bitch.
without the possibility of parole. He was first imprisoned at the United States Penitentiary in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania.
Why the fuck would they take them all the way to Pennsylvania? You can't tell me they don't have a prison in Alaska.
Well, it's probably a maximum security one.
In Alaska, we usually where they have them.
Doubtful. But in 1988, he was returned to Alaska and briefly incarcerated at Lemon Creek Correctional Center in Juneau. He was also imprisoned at Spring Creek Correctional Center in Seward until May of 2014, when he was transported to the Anchorage Correctional Complex for health reasons. He did indeed die August 21st, 2014 at age 75 at the Alaska Regional Hospital in Anchorage due to natural causes, which were related to lingering health conditions.
It was not natural causes.
Right. Yeah.
Well, this guy was not really much known about him. He's just a weirdo.
He's just a weirdo and then was good in the community. He was a community guy, basically, when he got there in the little small town, small community.
You know,
Nobody suspected him of anything.
making everybody their bread and shit that they're having for dinner and
Right.
lunch.
It's still crazy that he's just flying around a plane and he's not getting detected. Like they have no radar or, I guess, 70s, 80s.
Millions, not millions, hundreds of people flying around planes in Alaska.
That's true. So, yeah, I mean, that was the Baker Butcher, they call him. The Butcher Baker.
I mean, if you're going to try to get away with some murders, Alaska would probably be a place to be in the 80s.
As well. That was Richard Hansen, Baker Booker.
Richard Hansen, huh? What, they got any movies or anything made from that guy?
They do. That's Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen. That's the the pedophile hunter guy.
Something like that.
Catch a Predator or some shit. That was Robert Hansen. We originally were going to do Randall Woodfield. He was the I-5 killer. But he didn't really have a long episode, so...
It's decent. Not too bad.
Well, this one was about a half hour. This one would have only been like 22 minutes. But, I mean, so we'll do it eventually. But I want to give you a longer episode since Wyatt Earp was pretty long.
Yeah.
That was only 30. Actually, that only turned out to be 37 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
But yeah, and then that'll do it for us in this serial killing. And next time you'll see us or hear from us will be officially in the year 2025. And we're going to start that out with the some more Lucchese family. Take a look at some more bosses after Pinzolo, who was the most recent boss we covered. So we'll be back for that. And it'll be 2025. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we shall see you then. And we'll be back for more Outlaws Gunslingers, where the month of Michigan is with.
Dang, dang.